What's up guys, Landon here from the Full-Time Filmmaker team, and in this video I'm going to show you the best workflow I found if you're going from Premiere Pro to DaVinci Resolve and then back to Premiere Pro again. It's honestly super simple. There's just a few rules you need to be aware of when you're doing this, just because a lot of the things don't translate very well from one program to the next, like effects such as speed ramping, keyframing, and even nesting in compound clips. So to illustrate that, I have a fairly complicated timeline from a fitness video that I did in 2020, and we're going to try and take this entire timeline and send it from Premiere Pro over to DaVinci Resolve. So first we're going to jump up to File, Export, and then Final Cut Pro XML. And now we can choose where we want to save this XML file. I'm going to go ahead and find a good spot for it. I'm going to put it in the same folder as the main video. And you'll see I've already done this once before. I'm just going to make another folder called Send to Resolve. There we go. 2. I like that file name because it helps me know that this is the file that I'm sending to Resolve from Premiere Pro, because in a minute we're going to export another XML from DaVinci Resolve back to Premiere Pro. So this is how I do it, so I stay somewhat organized. So we can go ahead and hit save from there. And it's most likely going to come up with this translation report. Please check blah, 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 blah. Like I prefaced at the beginning of this video, there's almost always going to be issues when you're going from one program to another, especially when they're completely different programs, different companies even. So this dialog is just warning us, by the way, this didn't translate well. So I'll go ahead and hit OK. And now we can open up our DaVinci Resolve down here. And we're actually going to go ahead and create a new project. I'm just going to title this PR to DR example. You can title it whatever you want. All right, and now we're going to jump over to our timeline tab. And from here, we'll jump up to File and then Import and then Timeline right here. And now we can go in, we can grab the XML file that we've just exported from Premiere Pro right there. And this is just asking us if we want to use the settings from Premiere Pro. There's really not much we can adjust here. I'm just gonna say okay. All right, so immediately it's telling me 3 of 5 clips were not yet found. And I'll get to that in just a second. So right now I'm just gonna say no. All right, it's telling me there's some issues. I'll hit close. Okay, so honestly, there are quite a few issues with this XML import. Let's go ahead and put both of these timelines side by side so we can see what we're working with. Right off the bat, the first thing I'm noticing is the main music that's right here on my Premiere Pro timeline didn't even make it over to DaVinci Resolve for some reason. I assume that's one of the clips that was missing. That's also not the only thing. I also have a sound effect missing down here. If it's in red, it's missing. And then here at the end of the video, there is an image missing. Plus, because I had done the color grade with this video in Premiere Pro prior to exporting it as an XML and I used adjustment layers, all these adjustment layers don't translate over to DaVinci Resolve. So there's not much I can do about that main music track because it just didn't transfer over. It's not even on my timeline, but for this sound effect in red and then the logo here at the end of the video should look like that. Those two things I can actually relink the media if I want to. Also, all the audio in DaVinci Resolve is duplicated. Like, this is supposed to be one layer, but it's duplicated. Audio 3, audio 4, audio 5, audio 6. Every audio clip is duplicated for some reason. I don't know if that's left and right channels or something. That's very possible, that's what it is. Either way, it's just kind of annoying that it's duplicated the audio. So we can see this better, I'm gonna actually delete these adjustment layers because those don't translate at all apparently. If I look at the nested sequence and I try and scrub, it doesn't seem to work. This is basically converting a nested sequence in Premiere Pro to a compound clip in DaVinci Resolve. And once again, it doesn't translate very well. What I could do is right click and hit decompose. Hit it one more time, there we go, and now I have my clip, and now I can scrub through it because it's the original clip. And there's also the fact that speed ramping doesn't transfer over, any of the scale and positioning doesn't really transfer over, the keyframes for the scale and positioning, like if I did a digital zoom, that doesn't transfer over. On these specific clips, these were shot anamorphic, so I had to de-squeeze them in Premiere Pro. Here's a side-by-side for reference, that's what it's supposed to look like, and that's what it actually looks like here in DaVinci Resolve. Just a lot of things don't work very well. So moral of the story if you plan on going between Premiere Pro and DaVinci Resolve specifically for color grading, which I assume is 99% of people who want to use this workflow, don't edit your entire video in Premiere Pro before exporting it as an XML. Hopefully this should steer you away from ever doing that. This is what you should do. You can start your edit in Premiere Pro, just make sure that you use clean cuts and don't add any effects. Just keep it super simple and then go ahead and export your timeline as an XML. So that's what I have right here. I'm gonna go ahead, File, Export, Final Cut Pro XML. I'm gonna make another folder, send to Resolve Simplified, create. Go ahead and save that. And you'll notice I didn't get a pop-up window saying that there were potentially translation errors like I did with the original export. So now if I jump over to DaVinci Resolve, I'm gonna go ahead and start a new project. Title this PR to DR Simplified, create. Once again, File, Import, Timeline. And I'm gonna go ahead and grab that XML file from before. Cool, we'll keep that. All right, and now if we look at our timeline, I'll put this side to side with the Premiere Pro timeline. There we go. These are identical. It's exactly the same timeline. I hadn't done anything to the scale in Premiere Pro, and it's doing the exact same thing in DaVinci Resolve. Everything translates perfectly. And now if I wanted to, I could jump to the color page. I can make some minor adjustments if I wanted to. Maybe bring the exposure roughly where it needs to be. Bump a little bit of saturation in that image. So I can move on to all these clips. I could do my entire color grade in DaVinci Resolve. And then just for the sake of time, let's pretend like I actually color graded all these clips. Once that's all done, we can jump to the deliver page right here. And if we go up and we scroll all the way to the right, we'll see a Premiere Pro XML export setting. So we can go ahead, browse. I'm gonna put it next to the other files that we've already saved. I'm going to name this color graded clips, create, open. And something you should be aware of is that it's actually going to duplicate your video files, so just make sure that you have enough room on your editing drive. So once your folder is selected, we can just keep these as is. I'm going to add to render queue, and then I'll just go ahead and hit render all. And you'll notice this takes a lot longer from DaVinci Resolve to Premiere Pro because, again, we're actually rendering out these clips that you've color graded. When you're going from Premiere Pro to DaVinci Resolve, it's just rendering out an XML timeline file. It's not re-rendering the video clips themselves. So now that that is done exporting, we can actually hop back into Premiere Pro. I'll go ahead and right-click. I'll hit Import, and we'll go and find the XML that we've just exported from DaVinci Resolve, color graded clips. We'll just hit that one. And all these clips down below are actually attached to this XML. So all you need to do is hit the XML and everything else will follow. So let's hit import. Very nice. See, it's made a new folder for us. And then if we go down right here, double click, and right here would be our color graded clips from DaVinci Resolve. All right, so what have we learned? Going between Premiere Pro and DaVinci Resolve with a sequence that's already been cut and edited with video and audio effects generally isn't the best idea since, like we saw, most of our effects got lost between programs. But if we just do the basic cuts with our clips in Premiere Pro, then export as an XML and load it into DaVinci Resolve, nothing gets messed up. I'll be honest though, I think you might as well just pick one single program and stick with it, but that's just my opinion. Either way, thanks so much for watching. If you guys have any further questions, please let me know.